NASCAR is back for the 2025 season, guys. We've just had the first race of the season, the Cookout Clash at the Bowman Gray Stadium. Our first visit to Bowman Gray in over 50 years in the Cup Series. This was, of course, a non-championship event. It has no bearing on the championship, but I really enjoyed it. It was definitely eventful. Those who watched the qualifying race and the actual race itself will have been very entertained by this. I've watched both of them. A lot of fun, a lot of chaos around this really short and tricky track, and it very much lived up to its nickname of being called the Madhouse because the place just turns people crazy, you know. There's not enough space for all those cars, people getting into each other constantly. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, let's have a look at it, guys. For the first time in 2025, let's have a look at the main highlights, the 5 things that we learned from the Cookout Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium. So we started the race with Chase Elliott leading from the start, and he was looking really comfortable in the lead in the opening stages. He pulled out a gap of around 1.5 seconds, which might not sound like a lot, but around a track like this, that is quite a bit. 3/4 of the track is taken up by the cars themselves, so the leader is basically 3/4 of a lap ahead of the last runner at the start of the race. It's such a short circuit, but that very much means that we get a lot of crashes here, hence the nickname the Madhouse. And the first victim of this was Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch, of course, having such a bad season last season, really, let's be honest here. I mean, very unlucky at times and some mistakes at times too, getting involved in a lot of wrecks. And of course, he was involved in the first wreck of 2025, if you don't include all those that are in the qualifying race earlier on in the day. But it wasn't his fault, in fairness. You know, he got round the outside of Noah Gragson, and once he pulled back into the inside line, as you should do after you've overtaken, Daniel Suarez got into the back of Gragson. Gragson got into the back of Kyle Busch, and Kyle Busch spun. Yeah, not really helping his mood at the start of 2025. Hopefully that means that he'll try to get it out of his system, really. But we've got Daytona coming up next, and yeah, there's usually a few wrecks there as well, so we'll see what happens there. But the second thing we learned is that Denny Hamlin was looking really good at times during this race. He got past Elliott just before the halfway mark. I think this race was 200 laps in total. It was around 93, 94 laps that Denny Hamlin got ahead and got into the lead. Then Tyler Reddick followed through as well. Some really good pace from those guys as they tried to pull out a gap. But then in the latter stages of the race, just like we saw with the qualifying race, people closed up, people got impatient, people got annoyed. So this meant that basically everybody was wrecking at different times. Kyle Larson, for some reason, was in the qualifying race. I'm not sure why, but he was involved in a lot of wrecks there. He won that, I believe, or at least was near the front anyway. He managed to win it despite having his car with so much damage, and they managed to repair it for this, of course, but involved in a lot of spins was Larson. It was not really a good race for him by his standards at all in the end. I don't think he was even in the top 20 looking at his full standings. So yeah, sorry, no, he was 17th in the end. So yeah, a few spins for him. Carson Hocevar involved as well. Will Byron, all involved in multiple spins and crashes during this race. And through it all, though, fourth thing we learned, through it all, it was actually Chase Elliott who managed to win. After all those restarts, he managed to get ahead of Denny Hamlin, get back into the lead of the race, and he did not relinquish it to the flag. Very impressive for him. He gets the first win of the 2025 season. Of course, it is not a championship race. It will not count towards the playoffs. You win this, you're not in. Not yet anyway. But yeah, the final thing we learned, guys, really is that we got to come back here. We have to come back here. I'm not talking about an actual championship Cup Series race. I feel like it's a bit too rugged, a bit too rustic. I mean, things like is it Bristol that's really, Bristol, where it's really short, some of the one mile tracks anyway, that, you know, that's quite unique at the end of the day, and I do like this place for sure. I think if you're talking about something that's got bearing on the championship, it's probably a bit too small, really, when you look at it. I mean, what is it, 1/4 of a mile oval? It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny, this place. It makes a very entertaining viewing for just a non-championship pre-season event. I really enjoyed this. We definitely should come back. Don't leave it another 54 years before coming back again to this part of North Carolina. NASCAR, make it happen. Come back for 2026. I'll just quickly read out the top 10 of the standings. So yeah, Chase Elliott managed to win. It was Blaney in second, Denny Hamlin third, Joey Logano, the defending champion, in fourth, Wallace was fifth, Chastain sixth, Cindric seventh, Tyler Reddick in eighth, Chris Buescher 9th, and Shane Van Gisbergen, SVG, rounding off the top 10. So there we go, guys. Really entertaining one to start the season. We'll be back very soon with some more NASCAR news, and of course we'll also be previewing and reviewing Daytona 500, the great American race as it's been billed as this year. So yeah, see you soon for some more content here on the NASCARchronicle.com. Like, share, comment, subscribe if you want to see some more content just like this on the world of stock car racing. And yeah, we're back. 2025 is underway officially.